All right, the flow that I'm showing you today is one that I use on a daily basis and it saves me so much time. This flow helps me write user stories. As a product manager, you're constantly thinking about the problems that your customers are having with your product. Then you do research and you try to understand all of the different ways that you can solve those problems. You talk about requirements. You think about user stories and all of that stuff. And it can take a long time. Even for small features that you've done at other companies, you think, oh, I've done this before, it should be fast. Sometimes even the smaller features can take hours. This flow helps me think through and brainstorm in minutes. So it's really powerful, and I'm excited to show it to you. So let's get started. I'm going to hit the run flow as I do in all of my other videos. This is going to basically run through this flow, and then I'm going to explain every step of the way, okay? But I do this to save us time here. The first thing that I do for this flow is in this node, I basically just type up the problem that our customers are having in the best way that I can, right? LLMs are fantastic at language, and therefore you don't have to be perfect in describing the problems. It can understand it really well. So in this case, what I've done is I've explained a problem that our customers are having, which is they can't copy and paste. Oh, sorry about that, guys. We're getting to it. But in this case, our customers can't copy and paste nodes, which makes it difficult, and they can't copy and paste nodes into different flows, etc. Okay, the next thing that I've done is I've dragged out an object caller, which basically I've created a node that stores all of our company's information. So it gives an overview of what the product does, key features, and all of this other information. And then I've fed that into this AI generator. And the other thing that I've done is I've given it an example of how I wanted to write our personas. So the first step in my flow is to create user personas because understanding the different people that are using your product is really crucial when building good products. So in this case, what I've done is I've asked it to consider different personas that would use FluxPrompt. And as you can see, it gives me a bunch of them. Busy Brenda gives me all of the information, gives me goals. And this is important because I feed all of that information plus the problem statement and our company info into this next node, which is the second step, to formulate the problem, the hypothesis, and the jobs to be done. So as you can see here, it does a really good job of summarizing the problem statement, much better than what I did in my when I was typing in the node. And then it gives me a hypothesis, which is something I'm passionate about. We should always be designing with a hypothesis in mind. And then it gives me a list of jobs to be done. Then I take all of this information and I move to the next step, which is product requirements. And as you can see here, it does a really good job at being thorough in the product requirements. Node selection, copy, paste functionality, connection, retention option. So it gives me a really good list. If you think about that, like all of this information that we've just computed in seconds is super helpful. You could take all of that information, the problem, the hypothesis, the jobs to be done, and the requirements. You can put that in a document and share that with any stakeholder. And I just thought, and another thing you could do too, and I'll probably add that to this flow at a later time, but another step is you could even have all that information and create a design brief with it as well. That's a really good idea. Okay, the next thing is now that we have all of that rich information, one of the things that we have to do as product managers is create user stories. So what I've done here is I've asked this AI to create, to consider all of the requirements and then come up with stories that I can write for the backend engineer, the stories that need to be done before the front end can start building it. And so it takes that lens, comes up with the specific stories that need to be written up. And then the other thing, the last step is I do the same thing, but for the front end engineers. So as you can see, it does the same thing. It does it in the way that I want, which I fed into here as an example. I forgot to show you that, but this is the way that I want the user stories to be written. So as you can see, each one of these has those pieces. It's got a user story title, it's got a description, it's got acceptance criteria. And I did that all within a few seconds. The other cool thing that I'll probably add to this flow later is that you can actually send this information via email to ClickUp, and then it creates a task all automatically for you. Okay, great. As I said, this flow saves me hours, even with small features, and then even with large features. It just helps me brainstorm and think through all of these things so I can be more prepared when I go to actually work with the designers and with the developers to get this built. Hope you like this flow. If you want it, DM me and I'll share it with you. All right.